What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We just watched episode 11 of Demon Slayer. The third season and the finale of this season has finally come to an end, and we got a lot to talk about here. So we're going to be talking full spoilers. Hopefully you watch this episode because it was very good. Spoiler alert. And yeah, we're going to talk about that. But before we talk about this episode and we review the whole season, we got a little bit of news for our fellow Demon Slayer fans. The next arc has been confirmed. I'm sure you guys know this already, but we're going to talk about real fast. This is via some website, some anime website. What does that say? SK Anime?
Sportskeeda.
Sportskeeda.com. I want to make sure that, we're letting people know our sources. It says Demon Slayer Season 4 confirmed with an official teaser for the Hashira training arc. Hashira training arc. Let's try this one more time. It says Studio UFO Table has confirmed the production of Demon Slayer Season 4 following the conclusion of Season 3 finale. Several leaks throughout the week revealed Season 4 has or was in the works, and that recording has already started, but today's official announcement confirmed this claim with no room for doubt. The studio has released a teaser trailer for the season containing character visuals and more of the Hashiras who will be important in the coming Hashira training arc, which the fourth season is set to cover. This follows the pattern of how the studio announced the commencement of the previous seasons. We watched this. It basically just kind of shows characters that will be in this arc all looking very cool. And we'll definitely be interested to explore more of the Hashira. It seems like we're just going to just shotgun blast all of them in one season and get to know them all. Demon Slayer Season 3, Episode 11, which was 55 minutes long, was aired on Sunday, June 18th. As the episode finished airing, UFO Table released a teaser trailer. We already went over that. The teaser featured all the Hashira. We already went over that. We got some pictures here that all look really cool. Look like trading cards almost. And then it says, if Demon Slayer Season 4 covers only the Hashira training arc, then it should take as many episodes as the Swordsmith Village arc, which is the one we just concluded. This seems like, given that the final arc is the longest in the series and should be animated in 2 cores, there's that word, if UFO Table wants to do justice to it, the Infinity Castle sub-arc alone would demand an entire season devoted to it. While no release date was announced for Demon Slayer Season 4, an educated guess can be made based on the release pattern of the previous season, given that Season 2 was released in winter 2022 and Season 3 was released in spring 2023. Season 4 can be expected to premiere in summer 2024, likely in July. So next year, at the very least, which makes sense, especially if they're already working on it. We got information that kind of points in that direction. Real quickly, I mean, what do you think of this? I'm sure you're happy and ready to see the next season.
Yeah, for sure. No, excuse me. I already knew that there was. I wasn't 100% sure, but it was either 2 or 3 more arcs until the story was over. This pretty much confirms 2 with the time frame stuff. So,
yeah.
As far as it being a year out, that's better news than I expect these days when it comes to anime, so I'll take it.
Yeah, they've been releasing it pretty regularly, so I believe that, especially if the rumors are true of them already starting work on it, already doing voice work on it. I could easily expect it within a year then if they're already working on it. So, yeah. Anything else? Mm-mm. Yeah, I mean, this all sounds legit, and it's been confirmed, so I just honestly can't wait to see it. I do, believe it will be next year that we'll be seeing it, probably exactly around the time they say. 'Cause, it seems like that's what we've kind of seen already. And I'm excited to see this arc just because obviously I like the show, but to explore the new Hashira I think will be interesting, especially like the snake guy and that white-haired guy and the monk dude who we see prominently in a lot of the stuff that we've looked up just now. It'll be interesting to explore those characters and see what they're all about. The butterfly chick, I mean, hopefully they can make her more likable to me. I think she's kind of not that interesting, but everybody else don't know anything about him. So, except for Snake Guy gave some socks to Mitsuri, which is
and that's
interesting.
Genya's brother.
Yeah.
And then the other one is the guy who helped Tanjiro in the very beginning of the show. So
yeah, I forgot his name because he's been around or not been around for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be also interested to see how much more powerful everybody is, because it seems like every time we get one of these guys showing up, somebody else is more powerful than them. So Yeah, definitely be interested in seeing that and seeing what they're able to do, because they've been very creative on the demons and the Ashira and their personalities and fighting styles, stuff like that. So yeah, definitely excited, and cool to know it's already in the works. I was wondering if we were going to get a some kind of teaser trailer type thing that wasn't just pictures, but they're not ready to show it yet, so makes sense. Yeah, anything else? Mm-mm. All right, let us know in the comments what you guys think about the next season of Demon Slayer. Are you excited for it? What do you hope to see from it? If you read the manga, please don't spoil anything. We have not read it, and we are watching this blindly, so let us enjoy it. And yeah. All right, so let's talk about what we just saw with the finale. We're going to do a real quick recap, and it'll honestly be a pretty easy recap because this was a very straightforward episode, very emotional episode, and an episode that really kind of sat in the moments for the most part. But we got a couple main things that happened here. First off, Tanjiro has defeated the demon that he's been chasing after since the beginning of this season. We start the episode off where we left with the last one, where he's chasing after, everybody's after as well. Nezuko's kicking at him. Genya's throwing trees, a lot of trees, not just one, many. Yeah, Tanjiro is chasing after him. He can't run any further though because his foot's been messed up. He thinks back to when Zenitsu kind of told him about his breathing techniques, and he uses that to his advantage and does something similar to what Zenitsu does. So that's kind of crazy. Is able to catch up and hit the demon. The demon does some crazy shit where he gets bigger and pissed off. A little bit of that hatred element comes out. And he grabs Tanjiro's face and starts smashing it, which is kind of crazy. Genya tries to help out, and so does Nezuko. Again, he's trying to get his hands off Tanjiro's head. Nezuko lights the dude on fire and lights Genya on fire on accident. And then, Genya is able to harness some of his Popeye demon power and rip the hands off and the arms off of the demon. Tanjiro ends up going off a cliff with the demon. Nezuko follows while trying to take his head off. They land. The demon is hobbling off without arms, trying to find humans to consume so he can get his power back before the sun comes up, and also to just defeat Tanjiro because he's pissed off that Tanjiro's so bold as to think he's going to kill this dude. So Tanjiro musters up enough strength to go after the demon because he's going after people. He's lost his sword though because it's lodged in the dude's neck. Kind of fucked up. And he starts going after him, but then his new sword gets thrown to him by Tokido in a really cool scene where he just chucks it across a field at him. Mr. Haganezuka is very pissed because he wasn't done with it, and who knows if he ever would be done with that sword. But Tokido then passes out because he's been poisoned. While we're watching, I was like, why doesn't he just help? But I was like, oh yeah, wait, yeah, he got fucked up. So he just had enough strength to throw that sword, and he's like, all right, take care of it. So Tanjiro starts pursuing the demon, who's now found some people and chasing after them. And as he's about to commit to going after him, the sun starts coming up. He realizes that Nezuko is out in the field with him, and the sun's going to hit her. He then goes back trying to get her so he can get her out of the sun and figure out how the hell he's going to, protect her from it, because obviously she's a demon. But as the sun's coming up, she's trying to point out that this dude is going to go kill some people. And so the sun crests over. The dude... wait.
You skipped the beheading.
I skipped the beheading. Yeah, you're right. He launches over, beheads the dude. And then, because I just remember when I was thinking about it visually, that he was chasing after without the head. I was like, wait, I didn't talk about that. Yeah, so he takes the head off, and it doesn't stop the dude. This is what Nezuko notices when when Tanjiro's trying to help her. She's pointing that he's still moving. He's not down. That beheading was fucking dope, though. The scene where he launches and boom, that happened. You guys saw the episode. Anyway, I'm just thinking about the Nezuko thing. So I was like, that was so emotional. If you guys watch the episode, you know how it turns out. But anyway, she's trying to point that out, that he's still pursuing people, and he's not dead yet. So yeah, she starts burning up. Tanjiro's trying to figure out what the hell he's going to do, because he's torn between committing to what he's here to do, which is stop the demons, save people, but also his sister is potentially going to die, which was the whole reason he even got into this in the first place. She makes the decision for him, kicks him into the area as a flashback, to really drive home the emotional aspect that he's going to lose his sister. And, similar to the Master over in Hell's Paradise, I guess I shouldn't spoil anything for anybody who's not maybe watching our reviews of that.
True.
But it has to, I guess, commit to a sacrifice and understand why someone's sacrificing. And Tanjiro just is like, okay, like fucking, and if she made that decision, he's gonna go and defeat the demon. So he goes in there. He uses his sense of smell to detect where the actual demon's at. It's in the heart. He gets in there, cuts him into pieces, is able to get him out, and essentially behead him. We get a flashback of this demon before. I didn't get the full story on that. So he was accused of doing something, and
He was a liar and a thief, and he
Yeah.
was living with blind monks pretending to be one of them.
yeah. So kind of interesting backstory, not really a sympathetic one.
No, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, sometimes we get backstories where you feel bad, like Daki and oh god, the
Her brother.
her brother. I forgot his name, starts with a G, I think. But yeah, their backstory was a lot more like, oh, that sucks. It makes sense. But this dude is like, oh, you're just kind of a piece of shit. He acted like it too when Tanjiro started cutting his neck off or head off, and he got pissed. He's like, you would,
Yeah,
you
he
know,
used pity as a weapon.
yeah, he's just kind of pathetic, which kind of really works well for him as a demon. Yeah, so we get the backstory. He cuts his head off. Tanjiro saves the people, but is obviously very upset about his sister's dead. But we get the big reveal that she walks up behind, and she not only is not dead, she seems to be better off than she was before. She is looking almost back to normal, except for she still has the eyes and the fangs, but she's able to talk again. She has survived the sun, apparently is doing just fine. It's a big emotional scene. Everyone's hugging. Everyone's happy. She's talking, which is weird. And yeah, we get a flashback to, I forgot her name, but she's like the doctor, researcher type person from, I think, was that the first season?
Might have been the first season.
I think it was the first season. She
This
kind
is
of,
before the spiders.
yeah, she goes into how there's something up with Nezuko. She also talks about how Nezuko is still childlike. I forgot her reasoning for that. Do you remember? I don't remember either. But yeah, it kind of explains a little bit about that's why she kind of talks like that, still acts like that. It's kind of sad that I don't remember exactly what she said, but they went into it. And yeah, then we get a scene with Muzan, which is really interesting, in which he recognizes that Nezuko is a demon who survived the sun. And we get unraveled to us that this is something he's been seeking for himself, because that's his one weakness, is he's kind of a child of the night. He can't really the one thing holding him back from whatever his ambitions are is that he has to operate at night. Otherwise, he has to be indoors during the day like every other demon. We also get a backstory on him, which gives an interesting motivation to this. That at one point he was human. As he's the original demon. We're all wondering, well, where the hell did he come from? Well, I guess he was dying when he was like 19, and somebody made medicine for him, and that medicine eventually turned him into a demon. And this is obviously way back in the day, because when you look at how everybody's dressed back then, it looks kind of ancient. It kind of looks
1,000 years ago.
Yeah, very old school, which I thought was kind of a nice touch. He ends up killing the guy who made the medicine, but it gives him powers, but he can't go out in the sun. So we know the story, but this just essentially was a mutation that happened to him. And yeah, since then he's kind of cursed to be only operating at night, but he also, consumed the people and created other demons. We know the whole story, but now we know how he became a demon, which is very interesting. And now he has the motivation to seek out Nezuko because she has something that he has sought after. He was looking for blue lily, spider lily to hopefully be able to cure his weakness to the sun. But now he needs to just absorb Nezuko. So now we have a motivation for our villain that I think rounds him out better. We'll talk about that. And then the rest of the episode is a lot of just like calming everything down, chilling out a bit. We got Tanjiro starting his not quite rehabilitation like last season, but he's recovering. He has damaged his sword a little bit, so it needs to be worked on. Mr. Haganezuka is definitely not happy about that, as he's not happy about anything. And a lot of humor there. And Tanjiro's going to go to the butterfly
where he always goes to heal.
And go chill out. And they're going to send the sword via UPS overnight to him once it's done. And it's essentially moving into what we talked about before, the next arc, which will be the Hashira. And I'm sure Tanjiro will either be turned into a Hashira or working and training up to be one now that he has defeated one of the upper rank. I think it's only fair that he becomes one before whatever the last arc is, where they are going to go to the Infinity Castle. I don't know.
Not even like that he fought one, but he fought like on par with one. So,
and outside of a lot of factors beforehand, he took it out pretty skillfully. Mm-hmm. And he took the head off, and then he cut the heart. So I can't believe I skipped the head part. That was such a dope scene, the way that looked. So that's the episode. Basically, there's a lot of little details, a lot of good stuff in this episode, and some very high quality scenes. The whole thing was great. Of course, it's the finale. They treated it like a little movie, and UFO Table really doesn't have a whole lot of competitors in terms of quality when it comes to anime. So, what do we think?
Well, firstly, I woke up today, turned my phone on, opened Twitter, and instantly saw Nezuko standing in sunlight. So I was kind of pissed off about that.
Yeah, before we filmed, you're like, "Oh, I opened Twitter and saw something." I was like, "Don't say anything to me. I don't want to know." Not that you would, but I was like, "I don't want to hear anything about it."
Yeah. So that was unfortunate because the whole emotional buildup of her dying did nothing for me because I already knew she was fine.
Oh, it did something for me. I mean, I was like, "There's no way they're gonna kill her off," but I was just like, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, it was a good scene, but unfortunately, I already knew. So
yeah,
I didn't know the reason though, so still it was enjoyable in that regard. Yeah, I mean, it was a great episode. I think the one thing that the whole season was missing was like some form of like stakes, and they threw the stake in there with Nezuko burning in the sun, basically, and him having to decide between the demon and her. So that was good. I wish I would have experienced it completely blind, but it is what it is. It was still very well done.
Yeah, it's funny in that scene. I already knew we would get resolution, of course, but when he was like, "I don't know what to do," and I was just like, I mean, obviously you got to protect Nezuko. Like, fuck those people. It sucks, but I'm like, from Tanjiro's perspective, it's like, those people are important to him as well, because that's what he is here to do. But
he's just
he's not empathetic, and he's not the kind of guy who's going to let a demon just get away, because that's his whole thing. But I'm glad that she made the decision for him. That needed to happen, so they did that well. Because I was like, what is he gonna do? Because like he's not gonna be able to make that decision.
Yeah. No, for sure. But anyways, leading up to this point where they're chasing through the woods, continuing from the last episode, like you said, when he went in for the kill, I have a hard time thinking that he grew as much as like he just very instantly created another clone of himself right then, and he was hiding in the heart right from the get go. But regardless of the the logistics of it or whatever. Gets big, so crushes his head, and all three of them are kind of trying to peel him off. That was a really fun scene, especially because we got some small little details in there too, like that Genya, when he consumes the flesh, is able to be burned by Nezuko's flames. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that those flames only affect demons, especially with her being a demon. So it's kind of a strange ability she has there that it doesn't affect humans.
Yeah.
Because, assuming she had lost her sense of self and become just a demon, that ability would have been basically useless.
Yeah.
So it's a weird one for me, but it was a neat little detail they threw in there. I loved when he ripped the dude's arms off. That was just that guy is such an interesting character. I'm glad they fleshed him out, because he was kind of like boring at first.
Yeah, for sure. But I like that he's kind of like sloppy the way he fights. Yeah, it's just like I gotta do this now, no matter what.
He's literally the guy who's just doing what he has to do.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then him just hulking out every once in a while, because he's just like, well, I have demon strength now. I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
What do I do with that? Oh, I'll throw a tree.
Yep.
So, them tumbling down the cliff, and the whole flashback to Zenitsu talking about his training with his grandpa.
Yeah, we started talking. I'm like, who the hell's that? But then I was like, oh yeah, him, because he hasn't been on all season mostly. So
and then him taking those principles and applying it to his own breathing style, because obviously he doesn't do the lightning breathing. Mm-hmm. Super clean. Like, it was, the whole show's clean, but the scenes in this episode were like super crispy, and like his movement into the swing with the slowdown, slowly going through the neck like you do, and then that quick little end. I don't think I can get sick of that. It's just always a treat.
Yeah, it looks great.
And then it was kind of interesting, because it was over, but then for Nezuko, who was still paying attention, was like, no, it's not over, and so that created this moment of tension, because they'd already been kind of hinting that the sun was coming up. And so you're sitting there thinking about it's great, it'll get rid of the demon, but what about Nezuko? And they really played into that, which was nice.
It was interesting too when he was like headless, just running at those people in the sun, because it just like looked like Frankenstein to me. He's just like this body running at people, and it's just ridiculous.
Well, it's just interesting because obviously the main body was hiding its side, but it's still demon flesh on the outside, so it was smoldering from the sun. Yeah. And the sun hadn't crushed all the way yet, so it wasn't strong enough to cook him just yet. But he had very little time. He's got to kill these people, eat them, and then he's got to get out of the sun.
Yep.
So that is a big open field. So the game plan was kind of an interesting where are you gonna go? How's this gonna work?
Yeah, I don't think he was really thinking too hard about it. He just was dedicated to try and get get them humans real quick.
Yeah.
Buy him some time.
And then the emotional flashbacks and stuff like that while she was burning and then kicked him off was very well done. I'm sure that was a lot better for you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it wasn't spoiled for me.
And then her walking up, and then the talking was a surprise. I was not expecting that. So
yeah, it was weird.
It's also interesting to think that going forward, she doesn't have to hide anymore.
It's
and
really weird.
She doesn't have to
change
have
a
mouthpiece. So it's gonna be a very strange adjustment to that. Though I do wonder if she's still going to have access to her abilities and stuff. So I assume she will, but I don't know what this mutation really means for her outside of if she just got rid of that weakness. So
yeah,
and then the feeling a disturbance in the force from Muzan, since he seems to know what all the demons are doing when they're alive and when they're not, type of thing. That was really, I did not expect to get this part, and I'm really glad we did, because it's really nice to have an actual motivation for the main villain, because otherwise he's literally just been kind of a mystery who's very powerful and always messing chemistry in books, and it never made sense, and now it all makes sense. He's trying to make medicine.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah, that's a good point, because not that I'm not, it was never a negative for me, but since the first season when he got revealed as the big bad villain, I never really thought, outside of the things he would do to people, inject people and they would just mutate and die, which is gross. I always thought they showed him okay, so he's Michael Jackson, and he's just super powerful, but like what's the motivation, like why does he exist, all that stuff. And finally we got that information, and it all kind of makes sense retroactively now. So well played. Yeah, I think he's a much more interesting character now, just because we do know that this is kind of a freak accident that happened to him, but he kind of took it on, and he's like, all right, this ain't so bad, but there's a caveat: I can't really function during the day. And now he's got that motivation. But yeah, you're right. When I didn't even think about that, but he's always studying. I thought the animation's just like, oh, he's a smart and inquisitive dude.
Beginning of the season in the Infinity Castle, he's like making medicine the whole time. He's talking to them. So
and I thought they were trying to make him look like he's like a smart dude, but like now, like it's like, oh no, he's just trying to figure this out.
His one obsession is getting rid of his weakness, and the only reason he was making other demons was to hope for a mutation, while he was also trying to figure out, and that mutation happened. So now he's like, well, fuck making more demons. I'm just gonna consume Nezuko and get rid of my weakness.
Well, and it kind of also it doesn't seem like he really cares about the demons that he makes either. So like it does kind of seem like his own selfish endeavor. So yeah, it's in that one little thing, it just kind of made everything make sense. So
yeah, and that's very typical, especially like in anime storytelling. But I always appreciate it because it makes you realize that they actually did have a plan.
Yeah.
And you just have to commit the time to like to get that. So it's really hard to like judge anime really early a lot of times because of stuff like that. So
yeah,
not that the show has had any issues with that outside of like people who just don't like popular things. But yeah, what else? Oh yeah, and then the lightheartedness at the end. Can't remember her name right now, but I liked the scene because I was kind of wondering what was happening with the fight with the Love Hashira.
Oh yeah.
And they did kind of slightly flash back a little bit to the moment that was happening at the same time as the beheading. And
that was very well animated when she got swallowed, and then like it just disintegrated. It looked really
great.
I thought it was funny too how the Hadrian demon just was like doing his thing. All of a sudden he's just like, oh, and he just died.
Yeah, because he's just a creation.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
So,
manifestation of hatred.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird how this guy just takes emotions and makes form out of them. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really have a lot more to add. It was a good episode. They did a good job wrapping it up the way they usually do with the show, which is time to heal, and then the next season will probably start with time to exercise again because you've been in bed for weeks and months. So.
And his training will begin.
Yeah, I am curious, and please don't tell us if you know. More so thinking out loud, but I am curious if he will become a Hashira finally.
He's gotta.
Weird if he didn't. But yeah, I do think that going forward, especially knowing the name of the final arc as well, that this is counterattack time. So
yeah, with Muzen's ambition now to get Nezuko, like it's almost like two teams now they have both their own ambitions.
It's wartime.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it's more of this like try to find each other type thing.
It kind of felt like that before because with the last season they lost what's his face, so they're like, oh shit, they just took out one of our guys, we got to start taking them out, and so they attacked the swordsmith village, but now even though they just lost two demons, Muzen's not even worried about that because he just found the thing he's been devoting his whole life to finding. So yeah, that's his objective, and it's going to get really interesting with motivation inserted into the mix. Anything else?
Nope.
I pretty much echo everything you just said. The episode was done very well. I assumed it would have a budget because it's the finale. It was very cinematic. The beginning started off like a movie, which I always really enjoy. It was done very well. Even when we're watching it, you were saying something about like, you can tell these guys have like a background in like making movies and stuff. And Demon Slayer always has a quality to it that's very movie-like. But when they do their finales and their intro, especially on this season, the intro, the first episode and the last episode both have this big feeling to it that feels more than just an episode of a cartoon. And so, yeah, they really nail tone very well. Yeah, I mean, the whole episode was fantastic and added the weight that I needed. They did it in one episode, so it feels kind of like deflated a bit, but I'll take it because it was effective with the whole Nezuko situation. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't see it coming. I don't know if I necessarily bought that she was going to die. I assumed when somebody was walking up behind Tanjiro, it was going to be somebody either having her in like something. Maybe they got her inside of a blanket or something in time, or on a darker level, I thought someone was going to bring her ashes or something. I don't know, but I didn't expect her to show up looking fine. Yeah, like just completely okay. But yeah, I didn't expect her to die. But it was definitely emotional. Demon Slayer's really good at making charming characters you care about, and then when bad things happen to them, you're like, fuck, I don't like that. The action was fantastic. Of course, every episode that has action is always great. But of course, this didn't have like big action sequences, but it had awesome attacks from Tanjiro, like 3 different times in the episode that all looked awesome. They're all very samurai, fast hit, and one we got the double take because it was just so cool. You had to see it twice. Really appreciated that. The beheading, the part where Tanjiro chopped into his neck and he started just crushing his head. I was like, that's fucked up. I'd like to, I guess we're getting to the point where we're only going to have a couple seasons left. I'd like to see Genya again. I thought he was actually a lot cooler than I expected him to be. But I guess I need to take my expectations and throw them out the window because this show just makes everybody likable whenever they feel like it. I have my apprehensions about the butterfly chick, but I'm sure if the show wants me to like her, they'll just make it happen. But yeah, liked him. Mitsuri was cool. She wasn't in this season a whole lot, but when she was, she was fun. I liked her as a character. And in this episode, she didn't get a whole lot of play, but she was there. Same with Tokido, but it wasn't about them. It was about Tanjiro the demon and Nezuko for sure. And yeah, it was simple, it was effective. I think I really enjoyed the backstory in Muzan though, because it gave me something to chew on. It's not super deep, but it gave me something, because before it was just like, he's the bad guy.
Right.
He's really strong. He's an asshole. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. That's every villain ever.
Super simple, yeah.
Yeah, but now it's like, oh, there's like a whole story where he didn't choose this, but he embraced it. But
yeah, because he was going to die.
It ain't 100% for him. And so he needs to fix that. He's been trying to fix it for a long time. And now he's found a way to fix it, which now puts a huge target on Nezuko, which will make Tanjiro very upset that anyone's trying to get her. So it's going to make for an interesting story moving forward. As for moving into the next season, yeah, I assume he's going to become a Hashira, because why the hell wouldn't he? For what he did, nobody that anyone knows, not even any of the Shira, have killed this demon, and he's one of the upper ranks. So I feel like if you do that, you get your golden ticket. So yeah, that'll be interesting. And like I said at the beginning of this episode, it'll be cool to see them kind of explore those characters, because they do a really good job with making all the different Hashira feel different. I know every anime's got their group of people that are all different. I think this show does a really good job at making them all very likable, very different. Yeah, be really cool. I'm really curious about that monk guy, because he just in the first season sat there
crying. Everything was tragic.
Yeah, now in like the promotional stuff, we see as like a ball and chain. So
I think it looks crazy.
That's interesting to me. And he's got all the prayer beads and stuff, so I assume he's gonna be very monk-like in the way he fights. And I played monk in Diablo 3, so I like monks. Yeah.
Another interesting tidbit that I thought of too was when Tanjiro received his sword, it didn't have the guard, because the kid has the guard.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna put.
I forgot about that.
Oh God, how did I forget his name?
Kotetsu? Zahaga Azuka?
Tokido? Flame Hashira.
Oh, Rengoku.
They're gonna put Rengoku's guard on Tanjiro's sword when it's finished. So. Yeah,
which would be cool. And Homeboy also said that he had only honed it to like the first stage.
The first step.
Yeah. Of what, I don't know how many stages or steps there are to making that sword into something cool. Probably 3, but that gives us room to increase the power level of Tanjiro by just honing it further and further. But yeah, it was a great finale. It was a great way to end this season. This season has just been really good in terms of like quality, fun, entertainment. There wasn't a single bad episode, or even a single okay episode. We didn't really get the stakes that I needed for like emotional, investment. But this last episode gave it to me, and so I think that really kind of was a good equalizer for what I was looking for, because otherwise everything else was just fantastic and great. I really liked it. It was a really good finale. So, and a really good season. You got anything else to say? So with that, we grade things over on Tasty Loot Gaming. We do that here as well. Not individual episodes, but we do the season itself. And for Demon Slayer Season 3, Swordsmith Village arc, I think I'm going to give this a soft A. I also was going to give it an A- because even though it was a super entertaining season, it didn't have the gravity of last season that was just crazy. It didn't need to. I like that it's refreshing and different. It didn't feel like last season. That's perfect. Just kind of like when we talked about Mitsuri and her backstory, not being this tragic backstory like all the other Hashira. I liked that because it just felt different, fresh. This season had that as well. But yeah, really solid season. Great. Really enjoyed it. And the animation is just top notch. You don't get much better than this outside of maybe like you watch a movie like, Suzume or something. But those have like movie budgets, and this is a show. So yeah, soft A. I thought it was completely solid. I can't give it an A+ just because, the big emotional investment, the thing that I really will hold on to in terms of like my investment with this season, happened at the last episode, and it was really good, but it wasn't enough to push it over the threshold. But A, really good. I don't think, stories can get better for sure in anime, but like in terms of the quality of an anime, I don't think you really get much better than this. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I'm going to give it an A-, and for the reason you basically said, which was there's just a lack of emotional investment for most of the season. And I'm not knocking the show. Obviously, I gave it an A-, but everything else about it I loved. Every episode was great. I had zero complaints throughout the show, other than I would have liked a little more emotional investment is all. I think that would have bumped it up more for me, but yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, I was getting A- too, but I just think about all like the quality, and like the fight scenes were just like top notch, and like it was just a really fun and entertaining season. But yeah, it didn't have like 5 episodes in a row where I was like, holy shit, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah.
Whereas like last season was just like really good in that regard. That last fight was just like apocalyptic and just awesome. So, and this one was just more of like a fun, interesting, let's wait and get our swords.
Well, even before that, Rengoku's whole thing was super emotional too. So
yeah, but that's interesting too, because Mugen Train starts out just kind of fun, like a Scooby-Doo mystery, and then it turns into something epic.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of similar to this season in that regard, except for this didn't have the same weight as Mugen Train, but
kind of hard to have that kind of weight when you don't kill people off.
Yeah,
so.
which is fine, because
Yeah.
like I thought for a split second too, if they kill Nezuko, are they doing this just to hit us? Like, hey, we'll kill anybody. We're we're Game of Thrones. We're The Walking Dead. We'll murder any character. But I'm glad they didn't do that, because they need to. So
I think they would have gotten
death threats.
death threats for that. Yeah. As much as people shouldn't be doing that shit, I think it's kind of inevitable when you have a beloved character like that people are going to want to protect them at all costs, basically.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, for sure. Well, that's my thoughts on this episode. The finale, it's over. We got to wait another year, and that's our thoughts on the season itself. So let us know in the comments what you guys think of this episode as a finale. What stood out to you? What are your favorite parts? And what you think of the whole season as a whole? What do you think about the next season? What do you want to see? If you've read the manga, please no spoilers. But if you don't know where we're going with this, definitely speculate, have fun with it. And yeah, who is your standout characters of this season, I honestly and surprisingly think Genya was probably one of my most favorite characters of this last season, even with the Tokido and Mitsuri, who are like both really cool. Genya surprised me, so that was kind of nice for me personally. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. Stay tuned. We have more reviews coming, of course. We are running into the end of, obviously, we've stopped reviewing this because it's over, and we are running towards the end of Hell's Paradise. So we will be picking up other things to be watching. If you have suggestions, please let us know in the comments. We're open to it, but it has to kind of meet our time frame because we do a regular gaming podcast over on Tasty Loot Gaming, and this is a side project, so it doesn't take priority for me. But we're definitely open to it. If there's something you want us to watch, we are going to pick up and start watching Heavenly Delusion. I want to finish that, and we'll just do a review of the season, not an episodic review. I don't have the time for that. And then JJK Zero. I want to get that knocked out. We haven't seen it.
We got like 2 weeks to get this stuff done too. So.
And then so when JJK season 2 starts, we'll be ready for that because I feel like we need to see that movie before we watch that. Given the trailers for the new season look like stuff I need to be informed on. And yeah. Whatever else comes out, we got a reaction to the One Piece teaser trailer. I think we had a really good conversation on that, so make sure to check that out and keep an open mind when it comes to wherever you land on that conversation. I've been Seth, this has been Chevy, though, and until the next episode, we will talk to you guys later.